Lesson 7. No, lesson 7, lesson 8. Rampur. A village economy. Rampur, a village economy, page number 102. Okay. Textbook, page number 102, children. Rampur, a village economy. The story of Rampur village. This story of a village will take us through the different types of production activities in a village. So from this story we can see the different types of productions which is produced, different types of production activities which is done in the village. In villages across India, farming is the main production. So in villages across all over the India, farming is the main production. In villages, farming is the main production activity. The other production activities referred to as non-farm activities include small manufacturing, transport, shopkeeping. So apart from the farming, there is also some other activities in the villages like non-farm activities include small manufacturing, like they will do some small manufacturings like basket making, okay, and transport, shopkeeping, all this. Let us look at both the types of activities in this chapter. So in this chapter we are going to learn about both the activities. The production system whether at a farm or a factory can be analyzed using some ideas of the essential elements in any production process. So how the production is organized in turn has an important bearing on people's lives. So the production system, whereas the farm or a factory, where does the production takes place, whether in the farms or in the factories. The production is organized in turn as an important bearing on people's life. So the story of Ramapur village, name changed, is based on detailed case study where the writer went and stayed in the area and closely observed the various aspects of life in the village. So we are going to see about the village, Ramapur village. The name has been changed because the original name has been not given here. The writer went to that village, he stayed there, he observed everything carefully and he has written this. The study of the village was followed by subsequent visit. The writer could therefore note many changes in the village across time. The writer has noticed so many changes when he was staying there. As you read the story, you may want to think and inquiry about whether the phenomenon observed for Rampur is also present in your area, or is the situation different? If so, in what way? So if we read the story, we will come to know that what is the phenomenon of that village and how it is different from our village. We can compare it and we can say that, or the situation is different. If it is different, why? In what ways the situation are different from Rampur village and from our village? In this chapter, we will come across occasional reference to your own situation or the all-time India situation. For instance, when we discuss distribution of land to Rampur, we also examine what has happened to India as a whole. Interestingly, we find that there are strongly parallels. This helps us to understand that while Rampur has some specific features, many of its features are prevailed across India with some variation. These could also be compared with your region. So, farming in Rampur. Let us start. So, Rampur lies in the fertile alluvial plains of the Gangetic Basin in the western part of Uttar Pradesh. Okay. So, Rampur lies in the fertile alluvial plains of the Gangetic Basin, the western part of the Uttar Pradesh, along with Punjab and Haryana. Western Uttar Pradesh forms a contiguous belt of culturally prosperous region. The village is well connected with the neighboring villages and cities. Raiganj, a big village, is 3 kilometers from Rampur. An all-weather road connects Raiganj to the nearest small town, Jahangirabad, 12 kilometers away. Many kinds of transports are visible on this road, starting from bullock cart, tangas, bogies, wooden cart drawn by the buffaloes. There are many transports, different transports which are connected to this Rampur village. Loaded with jaggery and other commodities to motor vehicles like motorcycles, jeeps, tractors and trucks. So these cart transports are loaded with jaggery and other commodities to motor vehicles, the truck, the bullock cart, tangas. These all are loaded with jaggery and other commodities. Other items were loaded in the vehicles like motorcycle, jeep, tractors, trucks, etc. Farming is the main production activity in Rampur. Farming is the major activity which take place in Rampur. Majority of the working people are dependent on farming for their livelihood. So majority of the people who are living in the Rampur, they depend on the farming for their livelihood. They could be farmers or farm laborers. The well-being of these people is closely related to the production on the farms. The majority of the people depend on the farming. They could be the farmers or they could be the farm laborers. Land and other natural resources. Land is the most crucial factor necessary for farm production. Land is the main aspect which is necessary for the production. If there is no land, where can we start production? So land is the major thing which is necessary for the production. Land area under cultivation, however, is partially fixed. In Rampur since 1921, there has been no expansion in land area under cultivation. So in Rampur since 1921, there has been no expansion in land area under cultivation. By then, the nearby forest had been cleared and some of the wastelands in the village were converted to cultivable land. There is no further scope to increase agricultural production by bringing new land under cultivation. So whatever the land is there, they have utilized for cultivation and still they need the land for cultivation. So what they did? The waste land which is there, that also they have converted into cultivation land. So now there is no land to convert into cultivation land. There is no land that is left idle in Rampur. So there is no idle land left in Rampur. During the rainy season, Kharif, farmers grow jawar and bajra. These are grown as cattle feed also. It is followed by cultivation of potato between October and December. In the winter season, rabi fields are sown with wheat. From the total produce, farmers keep enough wheat for the family consumption and sell the surplus at the market. So in summer season, in the Kharif, they cultivate the jawar and bajra, and in the months of October and December, they cultivate rabi. In winter, rabi season, fields are sown with wheat, and the wheat, when this is the wheat, they will keep for their family for consumption, and remaining wheat they will sell it in the market. A part of land is used for sugarcane production, which is harvested on once every year, and a little part of land which is used for sugarcane. Okay, sugarcane production, which is harvested every year, once in a year. Sugarcane is raw form or as jaggery is sold to traders in Jahangirabad, the nearby town. So sugarcane, it can be sold raw, or it can be sold in the form of jaggery. So this is sold in the nearby town, that is Jahangirabad. Growing more than one crop on the same piece of land during the year is known as multiple cropping. Multiple cropping means what, children? Multiple cropping means growing more than one crop in 1 year. Growing more than one crop in a year is called as a multiple cropping. It is the most common way of increasing production from land. So this is the most common way which we can increase the production from the land. All farmers in Rampur grow at least two main crops. Many are growing potatoes as the third crop. So all the people in the Rampur, they grow at least two main crops. At least two main crops, and many are growing potato as the third crop. First two will be the main crops, and the third one is the potato is the third crop. Farmers in Rampur are able to grow 3 different crops in a year due to the well-developed irrigation system. Because they got a well-developed irrigation system, they can grow 3 crops in a year. Electricity came earlier to Rampur. So electricity came earlier only to the Rampur village. It transformed the system of irrigation. Till then, Persian wheels were used by farmers to draw water from the wells and irrigate small areas. So before the electricity, they have the Persian wheels which they use for drawing the water from the well. But after the electricity, they have the machines, they have the bore wells, they have the underground water pumps and all. Okay, people saw that the electric run tube wells could irrigate much larger areas of land easily. So people observed that electric tube wells which can spread the water for a long area, whereas if they have to draw means because of tiredness or something, they will sprinkle or they will leave only little water. But electricity, it can take the water far away. So were installed by the government almost 50 years ago. Soon, however, farmers started setting up their own tube wells. So when the government have settled these tube wells, afterwards the farmers have set down their own tube wells in the farm. As a result, by the mid-1970s, the whole of the cultivated area of 264 hectares was irrigated. Not all villages in India have such high levels of irrigation. Apart from the riverine plain, coastal regions in our country are well irrigated. So in contrast, Plateau regions such as the Deccan Plateau have low levels of irrigation. Even today, a little less than 40% of the total cultivated area in the country is irrigated in the remaining areas. So farming is largely dependent on rainfall. So children, remember that farming is mainly dependent on rainfall. See chapter 1 about India relief features. So while intensive use of natural resources like land and water has led to increased production and yield, the use of the natural resources has not always been judicious. Experiences shows fertility of land is declining due to overuse, excess use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So by the experience they say that the fertility of the land is declining. Why? Because of overuse of chemicals and fertilizers and pesticides. Because of that the land fertile land is becoming decline. The situation of water is equally alarming. Like Rampur, mostly irrigation in India is based on tapping underground water. As a result, underground water tables have fallen rapidly across the country. Even in regions with bountiful rains or favorable natural systems of recharge, the water tables have reached dangerously low levels. As the water tables decline, farmers have to drill deeper tube wells than before. So as the water level is decreasing, they have to drill the tube wells deeper than before. The use of diesel electricity for irrigation rises accordingly. The use of the electricity and the diesels also will increase. In order to understand these issues, further recall what you learned in chapter 5, Indian rivers and water resources, and read chapter 11, Sustainable Development with Equity. So the following table shows the land under cultivation in India in units of million hectares. Plot this on the graph provided. What does the graph show? Discuss in class. So here you have a graph and you can see the table and you can study this graph. Like you can mark the graph, areas, years are given and the cultivated area is given. So after that you can fill this table below the graph. Land distribution in Rampur. You must have realized how important land is for farming. So we all know that how important the land is for farming. Unfortunately, not all the people engaged in agriculture have sufficient land for cultivation. The population of Rampur is about 2,660. There are about 450 families belonging to different castes. The upper caste families own majority of land in the village. Their houses, some of them quite large, are made of brick with cement plastering. The SCs, Dalits, comprise 1/3 of the population and live in more modest houses, some portions of which may be thatched and are located in one corner outside the main village. In Rampur, about 1/3 of the population is 150 families are landless. Almost about 150 families are landless. They don't have their own land. So most of the landless families are Dalits. So most of the landless families are Dalits. That is SC and ST people. There are 60 families of medium and large farmers who cultivate more than 2 hectares of land. A few of the large farmers have land extending over 10 hectares or more. About 240 families cultivate small plots of land less than 2 hectares in size. Cultivation of such plots does not bring adequate income to the farmer families. In 1960, the Govind was a farmer with 2.25 hectares of largely unirrigated land. With the help of his 3 sons, Govind cultivated the land. Though they did not have very comfortably, the family managed to feed itself with a little bit of extra income from one buffalo that the family possessed. Means the family was depending on the extra income that is from the buffalo which the family possessed. Means they have. Some years after Govind's death, this land was divided among his 3 sons. Each one now has a plot of land that is only 0.75 hectares in size. Even with improved irrigation and modern farming methods, Govind's sons are not able to make a living from their land. They have to look for additional work during part of the year. So when his father was alive, the three members are used to work in the same land. After the death of his father, they divided the land. So each of them got 0.75 hectares. From which they cannot do anything. They are not able to do any cultivation. So the map 1 is the map of land holding in Telangana village. You can see the different size of plots and the relatively large number of small plots. Okay, organization of production. Let us try to understand the overall process of production in Rampur. The aim of production is to produce goods and services that people need. Further, the producer requires a number of items to produce a good or service. These can be classified as follows. The first requirement is there is land and other natural resources such as water, forest, minerals. We have read about how land and water are used for farming in Rampur. So the second requirement is, first requirement is land and the natural resources, water. And the second requirement is labor. First requirement land, second requirement labor. People who do the work, some production activities require highly trained and educated workers to perform the necessary task. Other activities require workers who can do manual work. Each worker is provided the necessary labor for production. Unlike common usage, labor refers to all human effort in production, not just manual labor. Hence, for example, whether one is engineer, manager, accountant, supervisor, machine operator, sales representative or casual labor, all of them provide labor for the factory to produce and sell its product. And the third requirement is capital. First requirement land, second is labor and third is capital. The variety of inputs is required at every stage during production. What are items that come under capital? So tools, machines, buildings. Tools and machines range from very simple tools such as a farmer's plow to sophisticated machines such as generators, turbines, computer, automated machines, etc. These all comes under capital. They are not used up or consumed immediately in the production process. They help to produce these goods over many years. So they require some repair and maintenance so that they remain useful and can be used year after year. These are called fixed capital or physical capital. However, all machines have to be replaced due to many years of use by new and often better tools and machines. So these are called as fixed capital or physical capital. And now raw materials and money required. Raw materials and money required. The various raw materials such as the yarn used by the weaver and the clay used by the potter, these are the raw materials. To do any production we need raw material. Without raw material we cannot produce anything. So here the yarn for the weaver and the clay for the potter is the raw material used in production. Some money is also required to buy other necessary materials for production and make payments for completing the production. It takes time to complete the production and then sell these goods or services in the market. Only then does money flow back into the production process. This requirement for raw material and money is therefore called working capital. This is different from physical capital because unlike tools, machines or buildings, these are used up in the production cycle. So this is the third requirement. From third requirement is capital, like tools, machines, buildings, raw materials and money is also capital. So children, now you have to write your classwork. At the end of the lesson you have some keywords. You will have to write that keywords, read the lesson and attempt question number 1 and 2 by your own. Write question number 1 and 2. The answers you should write it by your own. To write the answers by your own, you have to read the lesson. Okay, children? So write the question answers and send it to the school mail ID. We will meet you in the next session and discuss the remaining part of the lesson. Okay, children? Till then, take care, children.